I think realistically, going from not licensed to ready to write a Medicare application is a month.
You have a life agent who is doing pretty well, maybe in life sales, and now they're looking at this Medicare opportunity and they want to enter into it, but there's some hoops they're going to have to jump through. On the other side, we have some entrepreneurs who they see what you're accomplishing and they want to be Justin Brock. I want to get an idea of what that looks like. So we'll start first with these new agents and what the process is, what they're going to have to go through, what they can anticipate.
So a new agent, we try to get an introductory call to one to assess, what knowledge they have, kind of walk them through plugging into some training platforms to get the knowledge base set up. And then they work directly with someone who's kind of giving them some hands-on training, because everybody's a little different into what they absorb on their own and what they don't. Mm-hmm. Then, normally if we can, we're going to try to plug them into somebody close to them that can help, hands-on train them. If not, and they're not close by and they're out there on their own, but they still want to work, they don't have anybody to work with, we're going to try to help them remotely by, plugging them into certain lead flow strategies. One of the ones that we have that's working well is we have a telemarketer broker where we get somebody to get them their own telemarketer. And that's just something where you gotta have some kind of lead flow that you can field through quickly and find the people that'll actually pick the phone up, even if it's to appointment set and go to their house. Mm-hmm. So, that's kind of just the base process, but really starting from scratch, and without a ton of funds to dive into it, you have to understand that it's going to take you 2 or 3 years to get this massive traction and the renewals to start building up to where it starts changing.
I appreciate that, but I want to back up even further. Life agent getting ready to test. How long before they're starting to write business? Because I know there's certifications and things involved. Like, what is a realistic timeline of what to expect in that?
Oh yeah, so you can get your hopefully, if you're life license. I always tell people a huge mistake people make is getting life license without getting health license. Mm-hmm. Just do them at the same time. Okay. So if anybody's listening to this talking about getting licensed, you're like, that's well, I only want to sell life. Go ahead and get the damn health license. You're going to regret it if you have to go back and get it separately later on.
It's the same price if you do it at once, usually too.
It typically is.
We have an online partner, and it's the same price if you do them both or you do one. So if you wait, you got to pay again when you do it the second time.
Right. And there's some, even if you're not writing Medicare, there's some health products like cancer or dental that you could easily sell and increase your income with. But you to get that license and then get your AHIP done, start contracting, get certified. I think realistically, going from not licensed to ready to write a Medicare application is a month.
Okay.
You just said something. Get your AHIP done and get certified. Can you explain that? Because life agents don't know what that means.
AHIP is an annual certification you have to take. Think of it like what's the life anti-money laundering. Mm-hmm. Okay. You have to keep your AML in date, right? So AHIP is like that, but it's annual. And it's, once you've taken it, it's pretty much the same test every year. The first time somebody takes it, it's kind of daunting because they make you click through the longest slideshow in the history of the world. But after you get through that slideshow, it's pretty easy. We try to help people as far as, giving them some study materials and guides that can help them, get there. But it's an open book test. You have 3 chances to pass it each year, and you have to make a 90. That's the part that is a little difficult. It's 50 question
it's
test.
Open book, right? It's open book. Come on.
But it's I mean, I don't know if that, and maybe I shouldn't say it's open book, but you're taking it, unproctored in your computer. So if you don't use a book, you're kind of a moron. So, you're too honest. But yeah, to take that AHIP certification, I mean, you're enrolling in that. It's about $175, and then the carriers will reimburse you for it if you write like 5 applications with them.
Great. That's good.
So it ends up being free in the long run.
So you just do one certification and it applies to all the carriers.
So it's weird because the carriers have their own certifications, but the carrier certifications are almost like click to this slideshow and a test that you'll do what it said. And the question is, yes, I attest. Okay. So most of the carrier certifications aren't tests. They're just you saying click, 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 click. Okay,
they're just
yes,
doing their required education, and that you've completed it, you've watched it, and that
those certifications have gotten much more relaxed in the past few years, because I think the federal government knows we have to offload a lot of Medicare Advantage in the future. And so I think they're trying to make it easier to get certified and to be compliant than it used to be.
Okay.
Compliance, when I started, was probably at the peak of difficulty. And we've seen a lot of pillback, and not any way that's hurting the clients anyway. It's just making it easier for us to help them now.
I mean, half the stuff you learn on the life insurance pre-licensing course and requisite, like you never use that in life insurance sales. I mean, you're supposed to know it, you're supposed to read it, and you're supposed to be able to answer a question on it. But as far as the application of it in real life with families, I mean, So talk about the MEC corridor and the cost of insurance, and when it crosses over the threshold and it becomes a modified endowment contract. I mean,
I know.
I pulled a muscle when you said that.
Yeah,
I've seen the modified endowment contract come up one time in my career so far.
Yeah.
And it was on a product that I brought it up because we were looking at an illustration, and it was for a single premium whole life with the two ways that you would want to use the benefit were for a death penalty or for long-term care. It had a long-term care rider on it. And I was like, oh, this is a modified endowment contract, because I've been taught to be scared of them. And he's like, yeah, but you're not going to use the cash value. It's designed for death benefit or long-term care, which is exempt from the rules of modified endowment contract. And I was like, oh yeah. So that's the only time it came up, and it ended up not being relevant. So
yeah, so half that stuff. So I appreciate that context, because I think a lot of people who are looking at getting licensed in the health side, they think that it's a big, daunting, hard process, and so they just go next year.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's a land grab right now. So who's amassing clients that are going to be in your book of business with lifetime renewals? I mean,
and
who doesn't want that?
The time to get certified, the perfect time is about later this month, because when they announce the AHIP is available, you want to go ahead and get that thing done, start getting your contracts in order, because you want all that done before the enrollment period starts.
Gotcha.
And if you wait until next year, your first AEP is always going to have a huge learning curve, your first enrollment period. So you want to do that this year, because if you're really going to get serious about it next year, you still need one AEP on the books. Sure. So you could have learned a few things.
Yeah,
sure.
That makes sense. Okay, so now we've talked about these new agents.
Thanks, guys, for checking out our video. If you want to be the first to know when we drop new content or new videos, please hit the subscribe button right here. And then go ahead and check out our next one while you're at it.